Assalamualaikum and hi to all the panel. Today I would like to present my final year project, which is Portable Lift Wheelchair (PLW) for disabled people to transfer from wheelchair to car seat by using House of Quality. First of all, my name is Nur Firdaus Azimi bin Roslan and my matric number is B0918-10083. I am supervised by Associate Professor Technologist Dr. Muhammad Zahir bin Hassan. Without wasting more time, we will go through problem statement. As you can see in the slideshow, problem statement in this project is to transfer patient in wheelchair into the car seat. Most of the wheelchair doesn't have these features to make the caregiver easy to transfer the patient. Next, in statistic, there is about 458,258 person who register as person with disabilities PWD based on Statistic Malaysia that will use wheelchair as a medium to move. Other than that, the next problem statement is the caregiver can cause a spine effect because its position to lift the patient are not ergonomic. Next is disturbance effect. There are two disturbance effects based on problem statement, which is total comfort and ergonomic position. The total comfort is between the caregiver and the patient, where they need to be close enough to maintain the stability while pulling the patient in order to lift patient from wheelchair to another spot, such as car seat. For ergonomic position, the caregiver need to teach itself to ensure they have a right grip for make sure the patient are not fall to prevent injuries to patient. In the same time, caregiver will expose to the long-term effects such as spine effect. Next slide is objective. Objective of this project is to apply House of Quality method to evaluate design, which is concept sketch, before we can proceed to sketch the part in CATIA V5 R25. Other than that, CATIA software also used to analyze different type of material design that developed by using static analysis. Next objective is to develop a new features of wheelchair that can lift patient from a wheelchair to car seat. So this is my scope of studies in my project. First, conduct by using CATIA V5R21. Determine concept sketch by using House of Quality. Next, develop design part analysis to determine structural integrity and effect of certain material. And lastly, use material aluminium and steel in analysis. In Chapter 2, Literature Review, there are several research studies to help in this redesign project of wheelchair, such as type of wheelchair. As you can see in this slide, show three types of wheelchair, which is manual wheelchair, long-term wheelchair and postural support wheelchair. There are several differences between these three types of wheelchair. So now we go through one by one. First is manual wheelchair. The specification of this type of wheelchair is its frame can be fold, because usually these wheelchair are temporary use, and this wheelchair usually we can see its usage in hospital or clinic area. Usually manual wheelchair is heavy compared the other two wheelchair. Okay, next is long term wheelchair. This wheelchair usually has a rigid frame because it is a long term use, and its weight can be heavy or lightweight based on material used in manufacturing. And lastly, postural support wheelchair. This type of wheelchair usually has a special design according need by the user based on the illness of patient. For example, the patient has a spinal cord problem and need to have a frame that can grip its body. Usually this wheelchair is rigid frame because it is used in a long term, and the weight can be heavy or lightweight based on the material used to develop this wheelchair. Next slide is sport wheelchair. Every sport wheelchair has its own regulation to enable the athlete join the competition. These regulations are determined by the organisation that organize the championship, and every sport wheelchair has its own criteria that need to be followed. For example, rugby wheelchair. This wheelchair has 6 tires, which is 2 are the big one to rotate for the movement, and the rest 2 in front and behind the wheelchair according to International Wheelchair Rugby Federation. This is because each player need to compete to grab the ball for scoring, and as we can see in this wheelchair, it has a frame who cover the body of player. Next is tennis wheelchair. This wheelchair has 4 or 5 tires based on the player who need to be stable when hit the tennis ball by using racket. And this wheelchair need to be lightweight because player need to have a fast movement to respond the opponent blow, and usually it is normal duty and not the heavy duty compared to rugby wheelchair. And last is racing wheelchair. This wheelchair has only have 3 tire, where the 2 is for rotate the tire and the other one for control purpose. And same as tennis wheelchair, it is a lightweight and just a normal duty because usually this sport held at the stadium where there has a track for this sport. Okay, the next research is effect on low cost wheelchair. The tests were held in India and Chile and Vietnam. These countries were chosen because of its rural and urban population that the disabilities person are not affordable to have a wheelchair. So around 620 basic wheelchair were distributed to recipient, and the recipient need to use it for 12 months in their daily life. After 12 months, only 590 recipients left to be surveyed. The other balance disappear and cannot be located. At the survey, the main disease faced by the respondent are stroke and muscular dystrophy. At the end of the research, researchers found that wheelchairs are really useful to urban population, even it's just a low-cost wheelchair. Other than that, in this research, by having a wheelchair, it improved the report had by have a wheelchair, they can go to hospital for a medical checkup. Other than that, it improve quality of life, while the other benefit is improve user participant in community. This is because before this, they didn't have a wheelchair and just laying on the bed. They can go anywhere without a wheelchair. Next slide is chapter 3, which is methodologies. First, I have problem statement. Next, I have literature review followed by initial design stage. Then I have house of quality to determine the best design based on design concept, and lastly design analysis. So these are the 3 concept design. First, I have parallelogram lift. That part design is parallel to seat. Next, I have scissor lift, which that part design cross each other. And lastly, frame lift, that has a concept like pull the seat by using cable that attach to the part design. So before we can evaluate this concept design in the house of quality, first thing first, we need to have a survey regarding customer requirement and its importance to be plotted in the house of quality. For this survey, I am using Google Form. Around 79 people who respond to this survey, and 41.8% are female and the rest is male. The most respondent is between 26 years old and above, as we can see in the pie chart, which is the green one, and the rest is below 25 years old. If we go through on the next pie chart, that at the right hand side, about 73.4% of respondents know what is wheelchair look like and has a general knowledge about it. Next is section B. In section B, the left pie chart, according to the respondent, there are 6 the most important criteria that need as a user, which has been plotted in the house of quality in the next slide. On the other hand, in section C, to complete the house of quality, some other data is needed to plot a weight score to fulfill the plot box. Respondent has been asked about the level of importance some requirement towards the manual wheelchair, such as material quality, the strength of the material, design concept, color and material use. For example of the question survey are shown at the right hand side, which is the bar graph. This one is level of importance material quality towards manual wheelchair that been evaluated in scale 1, which is not important, 2 intermediate and 3 is most important. Next, okay, this is my house of quality. All the requirement by customer has been plotted at the left hand side, and its importance also has been determined from 1 to 6 by follow in sequence of importance based on the survey that has been shown just now. This is absolute importance are calculated by design criteria weight times with importance, and the total of the result are shown in absolute importance. After all the criteria has been put its weight and has been calculated, the result we can see in the line graph below. Scissor lift has the highest ranking and the most stability, that always on top of the line graph. So that means scissor lift are the best design and achieve all the requirement needed as a user. Okay, after we determine the best design, so now we go through the pipe design developed by using CATIA. By this phase, first thing that need to do is 2D design development. In 2D design development, we just need to sketch and determine the dimension of circle, height and long of pipe design. Next, in 3D design development, by using the same pipe in 2D, in this phase, we need to determine the depth of the pipe design to create a 3D design. In this phase also, we need to determine the cut area or sum hole for pipe design, and lastly is analysis of pipe design. In this phase, pipe design need to attach the material properties to ensure the calculation of analysis can be run smoothly. This process use two different material, which is aluminium and steel, based on the common manufacturing market of manual wheelchair. This analysis is to determine structure effect and effect of material. Lastly, this is my expected outcome. So HOQ will consider all the requirement need as a user from the output design that will assist to lift the patient. The outcome are: make the process transfer patient more easier. Next, we have reduce patient dependence from caregivers. Third, reduce caregivers painful sensation due to lift patient from wheelchair to car seat. So, this is my Gantt chart for PSM1. Totally, I have 14 weeks for PSM1. So, I have decide and distribute each progress based on Gantt chart as shown in slide. As you can see, this Gantt chart shows start from PSM briefing until chapter 3, which is methodology and so on, that start from week 1 until week 7. Next, this slide show Gantt chart start from chapter 4 until presentation to examiner, that start from week 7 until 14. So these are some reference that I'm used in my study. Okay. So I think that's all for my presentation about my final year project. Thank you very much to the panel for let me buy some of your time. Thank you so much.